Alrighty, so actually I'll open it up and you can see the burn scar. We have it mapped on our, I'll put it down.
Cool.
So this is the southern sectional of our map. It shows part of it. This is the burn scar from our the fire last year. This was Tooth Ridge, and then this is base camp. We were watching it while we're leaving the parking lot come down this ridge towards Philmont, our base camp, and that's when we started getting worried. But they told us if it reaches this ridge and goes down, then they're gonna pull all the fire crews out and bring them to this southern border, because this is pretty much the best defensible spot after Tooth Ridge. Start the fire and meet it in the middle, because this was way too dense to start to protect it all. It's a strong belief by a lot of the Philmont staff here that if there were scouts in the backcountry at the time, that there would have been a death toll. Our fire roads and our emergency roads, as we so call them, would not be our effective evacuation routes, because they would have all burned over. There would be no evacuating from the backcountry.
And so people that haven't been here don't know about this. So there's all kinds of trails all here, and there's constantly scouts and different crews every day of the week leaving and doing different things. And so there's trails, but there's also roads that can supply food and stuff.
Yeah.
And so you're saying that those roads were in such a state that if the scouts were up here and trying to go down, they would be caught because of the fuels, and the roads were not safe evacuation corridors, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And with how fast it was burning, the 1,000 acres an hour, they wouldn't have had time to get like Suburbans, which is what we use like as all of our trucks out here, to get them up to the scouts and drive them out, get off the roads. There would have been no passing those roads at all. One of the huge areas we were working was down here at Lover's Leap Trailhead after the fire. We were cutting down every juniper tree we could find, and all trees smaller than the size of a Nalgene bottle in diameter, so about 8 inches or so, because none of that should still be here. It all should have got burned up in a fire at one point. So we were doing like 50-foot corridors on either side of the road to try to make an effective evacuation route. Are we anywhere near done though? Not at all. We've been so bad at our management of the forest for so long that
through fire suppression.
Yeah, through fire suppression. And we were just, tree huggers. I mean, we're like, why would we cut down the trees? Well, we needed to. Especially now that we suppressed fires the entire time, that we didn't let any of that small stuff burn, and then we didn't cut any of it down. So now it's not safe. If there were to be a fire right here, right now, it would just be like, run for your life, because there is no effective way to evacuate from here right now.
Cool.
Okay.
No, keep going.
So even after last year, we spent 2 months cutting down trees there, and we made it about 1.5 miles. With, in that area, probably had 400 people working, and made it 1.5 miles down the road. So.
And you guys have like what, 300 something miles, 400 miles of roads in Philmont, something like that? The kind of service roads, those kind of evacuation corridors.
Yeah, I'd guess like 250 or so, maybe 200. Of just various emergency roads, evacuation roads, stuff like that. Even some of the trails that you could get trucks down that used to be roads, old Forest Service and mining roads. But so now we're hoping we're gonna keep cutting up all those trees, and we're making burn piles and burning them. And we hope, in theory, we're gonna do prescribed burns eventually, but it's gonna be a long time just because we have a lot of work to do before we try it. So if we even considered it now, we would lose everything. There's no prescribed burn right now. We'd have to come and clear every bit of land so we didn't get a crown fire where the tops of all of our ponderosas burn up and light everything on fire. So we blamed ourselves rightfully, because this is our land. We were meant to protect it. A lot of us have like an extreme hate now for Smokey the Bear. Smokey the Bear is a horrible marketing campaign. And we even talk about once the 10 a.m. policy came out, which was if a good forester saw the fire, he would have it out by 10 a.m. but the next day, which is when we started huge fire suppressions, which is not what we wanted. And we fell into the same trap. So any fire we ever saw, put it out as soon as you possibly could, which is not good forest management. We want those fires to burn. So we're gonna now try to self-reset our land to where it should be for the time. and not let Mother Nature do it, because that's what the 2018 Ute Fire was. It was just Mother Nature's like time to reset, start from the beginning, because the forest is no longer healthy. I mean, we see lots of lush green stuff around us, but this is not a healthy forest. We don't want this much green. Half the trees I see here are juniper trees, are invasive species, ladder fuels, and we don't want those. So
the great news is if scouts want to come here, everywhere we camp, or almost everywhere we camp, there's a fire pit.
Yeah.
And we're trying to burn up some fuel so you can come here. And a lot of places we go, we're not allowed to have fires these days.
So this was like the first summer in probably 10, 15 years where like as soon as scouts got here, they allowed campfires. One, because of how much rain we had. Two, because we are trying to burn up that fuel. There's just tons of dead sticks down here, and they're making a thing again that used to be back in like the 80s and 90s. Called the Ranger Axe. It's for like Rangers. Once we got our advanced qualification through like different classes and tests, we could carry an axe around to cut up firewood for our crews. So we need to do that again so that we can kind of help with cleaning up our forest, but it's gonna be a while. Fires though, we're a fan of our controlled campfires. Slowly, if everyone does it, it'll help a lot.
Cool. And so that was a unique experience you had.
Yeah.
2018, the fires, very cool. What about the last thing I'll ask is, how did your family feel? How did your family? One of the things we see a lot of in our wildfires is because of the communication stuff is chaotic. Were your family and friends like super worried? Were they like, nah, you're a ranger, dude, you can work your ranger magic and be safe? Or how did because that's always the human side of it is always the part that we don't talk about.
So when it started, Philmont tried to keep it sort of under wraps. I mean, they were trying to release the PR and release the news all at once so that we didn't get like a bunch of people like me where we don't know all the details telling everyone.
Right.
But I told my parents.
And that's what we heard. So we started hearing through unofficial sources and we're like, what? And there was nothing posted, at least initially.
It took a solid day until Philmont officially announced it. But yeah, so while I was at the bus stop waiting for the bus to pick us up, and I called my dad. I was like, hey, so I don't know if you've seen anything. Try Googling it, but Philmont's on fire right now and we're evacuating. He's like, oh, really? Are you safe? I was like, yeah, I'm fine. So I explained that to them, got to base camp, and then I told them, I was like, hey, everyone's leaving Philmont now. We're kind of leaving it up to the fire crews because it's no longer safe for us to be here. We're staying at the fairgrounds. But Facebook somehow knew about it. And so you like had like the emergency like respond, you're safe, respond, you're not safe kind of thing. So it popped up and I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll respond, I'm safe. So I went up on my Facebook. I think it's just because the location tracking and Facebook being Facebook.
Big brother.
Yeah. So most of the people knew I was safe. I got a few people that are like, oh my gosh, I hear your camp's on fire. Are you guys okay? I'm like, yeah, everyone's fine. We're lucky that we got out when we did. If it happened a day or two later, we would have had a bunch of rangers deep into where the fire was, and when it started, so it would have been tough for them to get out.
Right.
Luckily, they had been there for a day, so they were only like a few miles in, just because I could do like a short day because we started in the afternoon, so they could easily get out as fast as they could. But yeah.
Cool, man. So super lucky. Nobody died. At least nobody died here. And even though it sort of has radically changed how the treks are run, hopefully Philmont's gonna be way stronger for it. So super cool. All right, man. Thanks.
Thank you.